Feeding is provided by the mother during what? Intrauterine life. Warmth is provided by the mother during intrauterine life. And also, immune components is provided by the mother during intrauterine life. So all these things are basic necessity of life. They are things we need in life to survive, to have a good health. Definitely, when a baby is given birth to, it started to provide all these things, to adapt to the extrauterine life. So one of the ways by which a baby adapts to intrauterine life is to change from fetal circulation to neonatal circulation. To change from what? Fetal circulation to what? Neonatal circulation. So it means that it implies that adaptation from intrauterine life to extrauterine life means there has to be change from fetal circulation to neonatal circulation. Fetal circulation, how blood is being circulated when the baby is still inside the womb. That is why we call them fetus as at that point. Is that clear now? So when the baby is given birth to, they become what is known as what? Neonates. Is that clear now? So there is difference between this type of circulation and this type of circulation. So the blood circulation when the baby is still inside the womb or still inside the uterus is known as fetal circulation. And I said, for us to understand this, we need to understand adult circulation. How does blood flow or circulate in adult body? Now, in an adult, we have the major organ that is responsible for circulation of blood is the what? Is the heart. Is the heart that pumps blood throughout the body. The heart has 4 chambers. These chambers can be divided into 2 parts. We have the right part and the left part, which is separated by a structure known as what? Known as septum. Septum usually means partition. In anatomy, septum means what? Partition. So the nose is separated by what? Nasal septum. So the heart is also separated into right and left by what? By septum. So the purpose of this septum is to separate the oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood. What we mean by oxygenated blood is a blood that has more oxygen than carbon dioxide. As we know that the major thing we need, the tissues and the cells in our body need is what? Oxygen. So if it is an oxygenated blood, it means that it has more oxygen than carbon dioxide. And that oxygen is needed by all the tissues and all the cells in our body. I hope that is clear. Now, oxygenated blood are usually found in the left part of the what? Left part of the heart. Oxygenated blood, they are in the what? Left part of the heart. Why deoxygenated blood? Blood that has more carbon dioxide than oxygen is not will be found in which part of the heart? Right. So we have separated the heart into left and right. So we can each right can also be further divided into 2. We have the atrium and we have a ventricle. So we have right atrium and we have left atrium. We have right ventricle and we have left ventricle. Is that clear now? There is a valve between right and the left. Valve that close and open when blood is coming. So the blood will enter through the right atrium, go to the what? Right ventricle. Blood enters through the left atrium, go to the left ventricle. But there is a partition between them here. There is a valve, there is a corpse. Usually you can call it valve or you call it what? Corpse. Or you call it valves. Is that clear now? This one has 3 valves. That is why it is called tricuspid valve. 3 valve. And we have bicuspid valve, having 2 valves. Is that clear now? So, but what we know is that what we are having here is deoxygenated blood. What we are having here is what? So we have the aorta, which is the biggest artery in the body, which comes directly from the heart. The biggest artery in the body is known as aorta, and all the artery in our body carries oxygenated blood. So aorta, very big blood vessel. We are talking about blood vessels. They are the ones that carries the blood. Abi? We have artery. We have vein and what? And capillary. Is that clear now? So, how do they join together? we have the artery, will later become smaller to become what is known as what? Capillaries. Known as capillaries. So it is only the capillaries that can deliver oxygen or respiratory gas or nutrients to what? To the tissue. Let's say this is the body tissue now, or the cells of the body. As we know that tissues are formed by what? Group of cells, group of similar cells. Now, this is the artery. For example, let's say this is the artery. The blood from the artery, which is oxygenated, goes to the what? Capillary. This capillary will now exchange the oxygen to the what? To the tissue through diffusion. Through what? Diffusion. Diffusion is defined as what? Movement of molecules from a region of high concentration to a region of low. Now, in oxygenated blood, which one has high concentration between oxygen and carbon dioxide? Oxygen. So it means that oxygen will diffuse from what? From the capillary into the what? Into the tissue. It means that it does not mean that the capillary will deliver blood. What they deliver is what? Oxygen. Because oxygen is attached to what? It's attached to the hemoglobin in the red blood cell. Is that clear now? So red blood cell is the one that carries oxygen and carbon dioxide through the help of what? Hemoglobin. So hemoglobin has a place where oxygen can attach to it. So if you have enough of RBC, red blood cell, without what? Hemoglobin, definitely carrying of oxygen will be what? Will be low. The oxygen content in the body will be low because it's not the red blood cell itself that will carry the oxygen, but the what? The hemoglobin in the red blood cell. I hope that is clear. So now we now have this tissue. As once this tissue has gotten the oxygen needed, there will be diffusion of carbon dioxide into the what? Into the vein. Into the what? Vein. That is why vein carries which type of blood? The oxygenated blood, except pulmonary vein. All artery carries oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. Now, that implies that if the oxygenated blood are from the vein of the body, if the oxygenated blood are from where? The vein of the body. So it means that the vein in our body will collect the CO2, carbon dioxide, which are present in the tissues and other cells in the body, and take it back to the heart. They take it back to where? All the veins in the body will collect all the oxygenated blood and take it back to the where. How are they going into the heart? They are going to join the heart through the vena cava. Through what? Vena cava. So it means that all the vein in our body, no matter how small it is, they will all empty their contents, which is the oxygenated blood, into the vena cava. Vena cava simply means the great vein in the body, the greatest vein in the body, the biggest vein in the body. Is that clear now? So this vena cava has two openings. One we call it superior vena cava, and the other one we call it what? Inferior vena cava. Which type of blood do we have here? The oxygenated blood in an adult. Don't forget, I'm talking about what? Adult circulation now. So any blood that comes from this, that enters through the inferior vena cava, and even the blood that enters through the what? Superior vena cava, all of them will drop into the right atrium. Which type of blood? The oxygenated blood. From the right atrium, there are cups here which we open. That is what leads to what we know as what? Systole and diastole. We know we have something called systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure. That is contraction and relaxation of the heart. So if the heart contracts, it's pumping blood. If it relaxes, reveal, blood is coming in. Is that clear now? But by the time it's pushing the blood out, is what? That is contraction. So that is what leads to diastole and systole. Is that clear now? So now for an adult, we have realized that the oxygenated blood from all the veins in our body goes to either the inferior or superior vena cava, depending on where they are coming from. If the blood is coming, the oxygenated blood is coming from the vein, which is bigger, which is higher in position than the heart, it will come through the what? superior vena cava. It implies that if blood is coming from the cranial part of the body, it is coming to where? Superior vena cava. The oxygenated blood that is coming from the leg is going to where? Inferior vena cava. Everything will now drop into one of the chamber of the heart known as the right atrium. It will now go to what? Right ventricle. This blood is deoxygenated. I hope that is clear. Now, what is the destination of the blood in the right ventricle? Since the blood is deoxygenated, we need to refill that blood. Is that clear now? The blood needs to be refilled with what? Oxygen. Because the blood there now is what? Deoxygenated blood. Now, the reservation for oxygen in our body is the lungs. That is the tank where oxygen is. Oxygen is present in the body cannot generate oxygen. We don't have a means of generating oxygen except the one we are breathing in. Is that clear now? So when you breathe in oxygen, the oxygen is going to the lungs. In the lungs, they are stored in a structure known as, in a cell known as what? Alveoli.